May 18th of 2009, so the 2-year anniversary is coming very quickly, and I remember the date. I had grown to nearly 250 pounds. I had just had my annual physical as chief of a local volunteer fire department, paramedic. I work in emergency management. So we have to have annual physicals, and my doctor had just described me literally as a walking heart attack, and shook his head and said, 36 years old, you're not going to see 40 if you don't change. Smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, had a cholesterol that he didn't even tell me the number, he just shook his head at it. And I had grown mean, nasty, depressed, very depressed. I don't know how my wife or my family even lived with me. I hated my job, I hated work, I hated everything. I had started thinking about suicide, ending my life, removing myself because I was a burden and I wasn't happy and I didn't like who I was. That morning, May 18th, I woke up to go to work, took my fat butt out of bed, and I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror anymore. I disgusted myself that much. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. So I thought about it all day, and with my career and being a volunteer firefighter and paramedic, I knew that people that committed suicide were looked at as cowards. And if there was one thing that I wasn't a coward. And if there was another thing I had never done is I had never taken the easy road through anything. I grew up with a single parent, a mother who encouraged me to not do anything because I would always get hurt. Never let me experience food, never let me experience sports except baseball, which, like, if I twisted an ankle, she ran out on the field and yelled at the other person for her. Told me I would be nothing but, like her, short, fat, miserable for the rest of my life. So that had kind of empowered me. Even I left home at 18, went to school, college, and the only thing I knew at that point was I was never going back home. So that day, 2009, is the day when I just decided that something had to change. And I told my wife that I couldn't stand it anymore, and we needed to do something. We had always watched and been fans of The Biggest Loser, except we used to watch it and eat potato chips and popcorn and drink soda and drink booze and say, man, that's not us. But I wasn't napping after exhausting myself from dinner. So we decided to start eating healthier. She begged me to have an open mind about vegetables, which that was an experience, and holy crap, they're good. Now I think I'd almost have vegetables other than, my definition of a vegetable 2 years ago was McDonald's French fries. That was my lunch every day. Number 4, supersize, every day. So we started eating, I started walking, and by December of 2009, I'd lost, 45 pounds. Started to feel better. I think that was like the first time in 5 years that I smiled. It was at Christmas. Right after Christmas, we were sitting on the couch. We weren't eating, but we were sitting on the couch, and a P90X infomercial comes on. And we had seen it before, kind of like The Biggest Loser. I could do that. Eat more potato chips, hot. This time I looked at my wife and I said, I can do that. I know I can do that. And the funny part is there was a guy in this commercial that had said, he was fat, and was standing there in his red underwear, fat, and he had said, this has changed my life, and this should be called, P90X for life, P90 life. And that kind of struck me. So I bought P90X, started it in January, completed 3 full rounds of P90X, and for a little change up, bought P90X Plus. Went through, 4 rounds of P90X. January, I challenged myself to insanity. Never been a cardio person. Hated to run. Even baseball, run from first base to second base. I was a catcher. Catchers don't run. Really blew insanity out of the water. Now I'm 14 days into Asylum. Loving every minute of it. So, the other thing I'm proud of is being told I was never going to be anything is Tommy and another friend of mine, Dominic Mateo, just challenged me by Summit to be 6% body fat. I'm standing here today about 7.5. So lo and behold, during P90X and that during a year, muscle aches, pains, I became addicted to Results and Recovery Formula. And a month's supply was 60 bucks retail, shipping and handling. Budget was tight. We had started my full-time job. I worked for county government. They had cut my salary by 2% because we're in a severe economic downturn. So Alice and I were working on, she's a massage therapist. And when economics go down, massages are the first thing to go. And she also does direct sales for another company as well. So we were trying to figure out how to save money. So I started looking at the club and the Beachbody Club, talking in the forums, and one of the guys in one of the forums said, hey, you know, there's this coach thing, and you can get 25% discount. So I started talking to him. I found out that I had been assigned a coach when I joined the club for free. So I went in my back office and found this guy's name and sent him an email. And like 20 minutes later, I get an email back from him and started talking to him. The 20-minute phone call ended up into 2 hours. I signed as a coach that day. By the way, his name was Tommy Miger. And at the time, I hadn't seen a picture of him yet. And I had no idea that he was the guy in the commercial that I bought P90X in the first place for. So that's kind of one of the starts to little weird nuances that have occurred. The other thing was for my birthday in 2010 to celebrate actually the demise of that old miserable person. I had put a tattoo on my shoulder of a phoenix, fire service, from the ashes, burning, rising, and Team Swarm's symbol is the phoenix. So right away I knew that Swarm was going to be a fit for me. Came in as a discount coach. Then I started thinking, going over the material, wait a minute, I had a 2% pay cut. People were asking me what I'm doing. Maybe I can turn this around. Became an emerald within a month or so, I think. In October, November, December, I made back my 2% pay cut. And I started putting more time into it. It hit me after the 2-year transformation and finally taking time out to find out who I was. And for the first time feeling alive, wanting to do everything, that now it was time to just blast that to everybody. Because I know there's other people out there. There's times when I still feel like the fat guy sitting in the corner, but I can sense people and how they feel, how I felt, and how embarrassing it was to go in and you're late for a meeting and you have to walk in the front row and you make sure that your shirt's not tucked in your butt and you know your belly's not bulging out and you can see every wrinkle. And so now it's time to pass that on to everybody. It's not about me anymore. It's about them. And if it's the last thing I do on this earth with my life and with the energy I have, it's that everybody that I can possibly touch, help. And you know what? I don't care if they buy Beachbody products or Shakeology or... I had an email from a guy the other day that said, you know, thank you. I got up and I started walking and becoming more active and eating better. And for the first time, I was able to go outside and play with my grandson. That's awesome. And I'm sorry I can't buy any of your products. I don't care. I inspired somebody to become a better person, become healthy. And if there's any of you in the room that aren't coaches and you're thinking about it, do it. Seriously, do it. It's rewarding. The friends you meet, I come to Ohio because my Swarm family and the family I met in Bellevue, they're literally closer to me than some of my friends from the last 20 years and some of my family. I love them dearly. And the more and more we do things, you know, I've been telling my wife for 5 months, you gotta come, you gotta come. You gotta get involved in the network. That's the support network that we offer. So, that's my story.